If you have been a fan of the Invincible comic series by Robert Kirkman, you surely are no stranger to the comic's habit to diverge from traditional comic norms with its intense violence and dark themes. Despite the grim content, the artwork maintains a bright and conventional comic style as Kirkman, known for pushing boundaries, takes a bold step by incorporating a controversial plotline, going as far as to incorporate the sexual assault of a male protagonist by his villains. Yep, we are indeed talking about the comic world's most hated female villain, Anissa, whose character stands out not just for her power, but also her rage and malevolence. Anissa's reprehensible act of assaulting Mark, a half-blood Viltrumite and the series' main character, is most definitely a shocking narrative choice that has sparked significant discussion. But her unique Viltrumite anatomy has pushed her to become a top-tier individual of her species, allowing her to efficiently fight with powerful characters like Omni-Man. Plus, her lack of remorse for the most despicable crime she has committed through her character run really makes us wonder what exactly this woman is made of. I mean, the graphic depiction of her assaults really had a traumatizing impact on all of us. So without wasting another moment, let's explore the physiological intricacies of this grotesque antagonist.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Who is Anissa? From what species does she belong? Born on Viltrum and boasting thousands of years of existence, Anissa was one of the few warriors who witnessed Thrag's ascension to Grand Regent of the Viltrum Empire. Now this woman was in charge of evaluating Mark Grayson's efforts in securing Earth for Viltrumite control, so she initially opted for diplomacy and sought to peacefully reason with him rather than resorting to violence. But even after Anissa had passionately laid out the Viltrumite Empire's vision of bringing peace to Earth and fostering technological collaboration, her diplomatic efforts with Mark failed. So ultimately, she resorted to a forceful confrontation, leaving him incapacitated in a crater. Following her mission on Earth, Anissa encountered Alan the alien and got into a physical altercation with him. Despite Alan's recent power-up giving him the upper hand, he strategically threw the fight upon realizing that Anissa intended to imprison him alongside Omni-Man. Later during the intense Viltrumite War, Anissa engaged in battles against Mark, Alan the alien, and Omni-Man near Viltrum, striving for a decisive victory against the coalition of planets. In the aftermath of Viltrum's destruction, Anissa, along with the remaining Viltrumites, discreetly relocated to Earth and lived among humans in secret, patiently waiting for the right opportunity to execute their plans and strike when the time is right. How strong is Anissa? Can she kill someone by bear hug? In general, Viltrumites possess strength far surpassing that of humans, with their upper limit remaining unknown due to variations in individual strength among them. So, comparing Anissa's strength to a mortal is nothing short of a joke. During the Viltrumite War, Anissa played a pivotal role in the assault on Telescria, where she targeted the Coalition of Planets headquarters. In a dramatic turn of events, she seized Tech Jacket, attempting to end his life with a bear hug. However, her actions were interrupted by Thetis, who intervened and managed to release Tech Jacket from her grasp. Undeterred, Anissa swiftly shifted her focus, capturing both Thetis and Tech Jacket. The situation escalated when Nolan, having witnessed Anissa's actions, confronted her. Enraged by his perceived betrayal and traitorous status, Anissa unleashed her fury on Nolan, but Anissa's involvement didn't end there. Following the destruction of the Viltrumite warship by Mark and Kid Omni-Man, she targeted Alan in the aftermath, but later Anissa retreated alongside Thrag and other Viltrumites to Viltrum, where they prepared for the imminent coalition attack. But coming to the point, a bear hug is a form of attack where someone wraps their arms around an opponent, typically from behind, in an attempt to constrict, crush them. In this instance, Anissa used this technique against Tech Jacket as part of her aggressive actions during the war, and if it were not for Thetis, she would have probably crushed Tech Jacket to death. How long can Anissa hold her breath? All Viltrumites have the ability to hold their breath for almost 2 whole weeks. As crazy as that sounds, Anissa's lung capacity actually allows her to go on without breathing for 14 whole days. So practically, if she is hiding underwater, she could go unnoticed for half a month simply because she has the crazy Viltrumite ability to hold her breath. Is her skin vulnerable to heat? Viltrumites exhibit endurance levels that far surpass human capabilities, thus enabling them to endure extreme situations such as disembowelment, exposure to lava, and even bomb blasts without sustaining any permanent physical damage. However, a significant weakness in their powerful physiology was unveiled by Mark Grayson, aka Invincible, during a climactic battle with the powerful Viltrumite Thrag. Now, in general, the inherent strength of Viltrumite skin, coupled with an incredibly fast healing factor, makes it challenging to penetrate penetrate and cause lasting harm. However, Invincible's revelation highlighted a crucial vulnerability that his healing factor breaks down when exposed to intense heat. Whether emanating from the sun or any form of boiling plasma, such high temperatures can seriously impair a Viltrumite's ability to regenerate. This weakness was exploited during Invincible's final showdown with Thrag in issue number 140, where the decisive battle unfolded inside the sun itself as Invincible strategically harnessed the intense heat to weaken Thrag's healing factor, ultimately leading to his defeat. While it would necessitate an extraordinary amount of energy, this vulnerability underscores the potential use of comparable heat to weaken and eventually eliminate any Viltrumite adversary. So, Anissa, being a Viltrumite herself, has not shown any signs or examples of being invulnerable to intense heat. So, if she were to be exposed to super high temperatures, it would definitely weaken her Viltrumite healing abilities, and there would be a chance for her to be defeated. What is Anissa's perspective on intimacy? The Viltrumites held a unique perspective on intimacy, viewing sex solely as means of producing new soldiers. Passion, love, and emotions, in general, were considered signs of weakness in their society, and Nolan was a prominent example of this, as he initially struggled with these concepts upon entering a relationship with Mark's mother, Debbie. It took time for him to comprehend and embrace romance, and this shift in perspective can only be attributed to his extended time on Earth. This particular mindset also extended to Thrag's agents when they infiltrated the planet. One spy grappled with similar challenges, engaging with multiple partners to sire hybrids. Anissa, on the other hand, faced her own internal struggles, resisting the development of emotions as she approached the time to choose a mate. Tragically, Anissa's difficulty in understanding intimacy took a dark turn, leading to a disturbing arc where she misinterpreted the entire concept, resulting in the reprehensible act of raping Mark with the sole intention of procreating. The only reason why she chose Mark for a fitting mate was for his Viltrumite heritage. Anissa really hoped she would be able to seduce Mark, but when he rejected her advances or basically waved her off because he was with Eve, Anissa took the route she was most familiar with: violence. The fact that she was strong enough to overpower Mark basically aroused her, and she enjoyed the chase of getting hold of Mark's body and pushing him down, as he constantly refused to give in. Eventually, Anissa managed to get what she wanted as she pinned Mark down by his arms and tore off both their clothes while her elbow was crushing his neck. And then, the most horrific scene in comic book history happened as Anissa reached out to Mark's genitals and proceeded to rape him. Even though Mark is the protagonist's superhero, he was traumatized and started crying in absolute horror as Anissa continued to assault him with a grin of satisfaction on her face. After being done with him and securing her means to mate with a human as part of her mission, Anissa goes as far as to boldly ask Mark to man up and warn him that she would be trying to assault him again in the future before flying away to a distance. Does she have a kid with a human? Several months after Mark left Earth, Anissa gave birth to Mark's son and named him Marky. During this period, Anissa married a man named Scott Murphy. In Invincible Comics issue 129, after Anissa got back home from being asked to leave by Nolan from the Viltrumite warship, it was revealed that she had a family of her own, and this is when we first see her husband holding her young daughter who was sleeping in his arms. Soon we get to know that Molly was Anissa's child with Scott, while Marky was actually Mark's son from the despicable act Anissa had committed with him. Why can't she control her anger? Does she have any diseases? Anissa grapples with an acute form of rare behavioral disorder known as intermittent explosive disorder, or IED. This condition is marked by severe expressions of anger, often escalating to uncontrollable rage that may be disproportionate to the triggering situation. In simpler terms, Anissa can experience violent outbursts triggered by relatively minor stimulation when she feels angry or frustrated. Does she have healing ability? By now, most of you might have understood that Viltrumites are a pretty strong race, so of course Anissa has a crazy ability to heal from wounds and injuries which would easily kill any human being. Does she have any weakness? Anissa shares the typical vulnerabilities and allergies that affect all Viltrumites, including the bioengineered Scourge virus, which decimated their race. Additionally, she possesses an intense allergy to the Klaxus plant, which is again a common vulnerability among Viltrumites. But it should be noted that Anissa also has an unusually sensitive inner ear, making her susceptible to extreme pain or potential harm when her equilibrium is disrupted, primarily by frequencies, and the severity of this pain, or its potential lethality, is contingent on the strength of the frequency. Does Anissa possess the ability of decelerated aging? While Viltrumites have the potential to live for thousands of years and maintain their physical prime, they are most definitely not immortal. As Anissa is a Viltrumite to her very core, of course she was mortal too, and we saw proof of that in her pivotal battle against Thrag's children, as Anissa exhibited bravery by saving Eve from a perilous situation, only after paying a heavy price. During this conflict, she sustained severe injuries, and despite Eve's attempts to save her, Anissa's wounds proved fatal. In a poignant moment before her passing, Anissa expressed her remorse to Eve, acknowledging the regrettable act of raping Mark. However, she found solace in the fact that it led to the birth of Marky. Despite Eve's efforts to protect her by encapsulating Anissa in a protective bubble, she ultimately succumbed to her injuries, and her death was later confirmed by Alan the alien. This marked the end of Anissa's journey, highlighting the vulnerability and mortality that even powerful beings like Viltrumites are subject to in the face of life-altering circumstances. Marvelous verdict. The Invincible series is like a comic book soap opera, and I am totally here for it, but the much-needed spice was added to the plot through Anissa's character, whose character's lows truly overpowers the highs, but I guess that's what makes her truly more interesting. Even after her redemption arc, she did not lose her Viltrumite demeanor, and if it were not for her last act of kindness towards Eve, Anissa would probably be whopping many more asses in the comic series. Now that we have reached the very end of this video, what do you think about her character? Let us know in the comment box below.